then we'll wait for her to come on. All right. This child just sucking her fingers. We're just going to wait for people to come. Hi, Ash. I am currently holding my grandchild. I want to wait for a few more people to show up. Hi, Deborah. Let's see who else is on here. Hey, Anika. All right. For real. Hold on, y'all. Give me that bottle, girl. This child eats so much. Okay, hey, calm down. And every time you turn around, she wants something to eat. But I wanted to come because I haven't done a Facebook Live in a long time. One, because I was in Facebook jail. And because I'm busy. I got my hands full. But what I wanted to talk to you all about really quickly today, while I unstrap this child, it's horrible trying to get this thing on, and now I gotta check her out. We just put her in here. Sit down, girl. It's all right. Mama's got it. My daughter's breastfeeding, but this child eats so much she's had to start pumping so that other people can feed her, because otherwise she'll be eating all day on her mama, and her mama got things to do. So hey, calm down. Mama's got your food. So yes. So I came to you guys today to talk to you really quickly, and we're just gonna talk over Missy here hollering. My niece Brookie's over here helping us put together a witch box. Hey, Kieran. And I'm hoping that she doesn't tune up too bad, or else this girl is long and she is big and she's upset because she always is eating. Okay, hey, Kenny. So I wanted to talk to you all about a couple of things. I'm not really framed well here in the picture, but I can't really worry about that right now. About some of the stuff that I talked to about with customers. I just spent an hour on the phone with a young woman who has, yes, she's holding up her head already, who has worked with various workers and has had some issues. And one of the things that I tell people is, before you start coming out here trying to solicit the help and the advice of magical workers, especially in these days and times, you should really kind of know the drill about what a particular magical worker is doing for you. And that takes a bit of education. That takes being able to know, what are the basic parts of a cleansing? What to expect when somebody sends you a picture of a candle that they've worked for you, or anything like that. We got people that are doing one or two things. And I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people walk around, they think they're cursed, and they're not. 99.9% of my clients, I'll just say 99%, because I've had a few, that are actually cursed. But that's usually not the case. Often we curse ourselves, and that's through not doing the mundane actions that we need to do to achieve the things that we want to achieve in our life. So then when stuff goes wrong because you've made bad decisions, or you've done something that you knew you shouldn't have done in the first place, because nobody ever taught you how to listen to your spirit. Nobody ever taught you how to trust what you want to call your intuition, your third eye, your Holy Spirit. I'm trying to straighten out this septum piercing. It's crooked. You never learned and spent enough time with yourself to understand what that little voice is. Now, y'all can raise your hands or hit love or like about the times in your life when you did something you knew you didn't have any business doing. Spirit was like, don't do that, girl. Well, don't do that, boy. And you did it anyway. Sometimes when your mama and your daddy or your parents or your priest or your priestess tell you not to do certain things, you go and do them anyway. And then you wonder why your life is a mess. So the first thing is, if you want magic to work in your life, you have to be a willing participant in your progress. So when I do work for people, which is rare because my thing is teaching people how to do it for themselves, they have work to do within said process. Okay? They don't just sit by and be a sideline participant, because no, you can't guarantee spell work. And the reason why you can't guarantee spell work is because you cannot guarantee that the person, this child's sucking her fingers, if you can hear that. It's coming, it's coming. Where is that bottle, girl? No, but she going to, will you bring Greedy Gut her dinner? She about to tune up. So we've started, my daughter started pumping, because if not, she wouldn't be able to get up and do anything, so that she can go out and go to the grocery store and all that good stuff, and somebody can still feed the baby. Because I don't like formula. I only had to use it because my milk didn't come in. So we're waiting for mama to get that breast milk to feed that baby. Yes, that baby. I know, baby. Okay. Yeah, she be trying to get up on these old titties. And I keep trying to explain to her, ain't nothing in these old titties. So what you have to understand is, first of all, when you want magical working to work, you do have to do mundane actions in order for things to get to work. And you have to do spiritual work within yourself. You cannot depend on just a priest or a priestess to come and wipe everything away for you. And a lot of these people will do one or two things. They will promise you the world for a certain large amount of money, or they'll tell you how powerful they are, and when they want more money from you, they will threaten you with your own ancestors and your own spirits. Okay? That's not cool. All right? If you are picking a magical professional online, if somebody's sitting here talking about how powerful they are, people who are powerful don't have to tell you that they are. They just are. And the power doesn't come from the individual, in my opinion. It comes from their connections to their spirits and their abilities to tap into yours. It takes a certain amount of trust for you to be able to, like for example, my custom ancestor candles. Not everybody's going to want to send a picture of their relatives to me. In fact, I warn people against it. Unless they really know you sending personal concerns to a worker can backfire, especially if the worker never does the work. I had somebody contact me about a worker who took $600 of her money, had her personal concerns, and never did the work. Well, guess what? You stuck, honey, because now she's got your shit. And depending on who, and if she's working with some unethical spirits, depending on that, you may end up with her doing something to you with your own personal concerns. So you really don't want that. And I keep getting notifications on my phone, so I'm trying to get them off. Here, yeah, this is absolutely not working. This baby cradle thingy. So don't just be willing to work with any worker. You have to have a relationship with them. You have to, here, thank you. Here, get that breast milk. Get that breast milk, boo-boo. There we go. So anyways, I have my nieces here, got my grandkids here, my daughter's here. Summer is jumping in Sukasa. So that's the first thing. You know, you can't just trust any magical worker. That's why I try to teach you all. I've put up the new sessions for Root Work 102, 101, 102, and 103. I even did a bulk package where I'll discount all three of the classes by $25 if you sign up for all three. You need to know this information if you're going to be practicing magic or you're going to have someone doing work for you. You should be knowledgeable. Not everybody is meant to be a magical practitioner, including some of the people who are selling their services online. Okay? So you need to know whether or not this person can be trusted. What's the reputation? They got any references? You've seen any reviews? You read any rip-off reports? Because the only rip-off report I got is somebody with some bullshit. And then 6 of my clients came back and were like, Liz has been my worker. She has done this. She has done that. She is honest. She is ethical. You want to research people. What's that baby that fell? Oh. You want me to tear up my pretty speaker? Good grief. I know it was an accident. So, you can't just pick anybody to do magical workings for you. And you should be knowledgeable about how to do them for yourself. If you can't, Don't let anybody tell you that you cannot read for yourself. If you cannot read for yourself, then you need to question your abilities as a diviner. Because if you can't be honest with yourself, who are you going to be honest with your clients, or are you going to make stuff up as you go along? You should be able to read for yourself. As a spiritual person, you should be able to do that shadow work and get clear about the things that maybe ain't going so well for you, that maybe you're not doing so well. Okay? So you have to know, getting rid of these notifications, you have to know how to do the work, or at least have some idea of how to do the work. And that's going to help you a lot, even if you don't possess the magical acumen. At least you'll know if somebody's coming to you with some old bullshit, or some things that they may be doing in their practice that don't coincide with yours. Because maybe the way they do things, okay? Thank you, Letitia. Maybe the way they do things is not the way your ancestors do things. You got to find the right person to be your reader. A reader, you don't jump from reader to reader to reader to reader. My clients, I like to see them return. I usually say 3 months about the particular subject. You can get a reading about a completely different subject the next week, but you're going to have to put some work in on the first reading before we read about it again. Because it's just like your ancestors. If they gave you information and they gave you, what you're supposed to be doing, and you ain't doing it, and you come back and asking the same fucking questions over and over again, guess what? Your ancestors going to be like, I told you. Like, I knew my daughter pays attention to me because she was fussing at her cats one day because they were fighting. And she was like, say something else. And so that's what the ancestors are going to do to you if you keep bugging them about things that they've already given you the answers to. You need to take what you got from the reading and make it applicable in your life and make changes. There's no purpose for a divination. A divination for me, different readers have different philosophies. Some readers say they can predict the future and it can't be changed. I believe that I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. That my creator and my spirits and my ancestors have set me up to make the decisions that I need to make to do the right things in my life. And when I get stuck, I can go to them and say, hey, I'm stuck. And usually it's because I did something wrong. Well, you ain't got no money because you spent your money on this. It's usually that simple. Or you're sad and you're heartbroken because you didn't do a divination and you didn't trust what the divination said about the potential person that you were about to start dealing with. And that is usually the case almost all the time. So what happens is a lot of people end up going to babalaos, especially, unfortunately, in this day and age. I don't know why. And not getting any help. And it's sad that there are people out here who will take your money. So, but you have to know if you're getting got. And you can't know if you're getting got if you don't know anything about magic. Don't step into this realm and start employing spell work, tactics, readings, anything, especially at the hands of another person if you don't know what you are doing. Take some classes, read some books. I can't even advise Facebook groups because even the good ones have people posting some of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in my life. And ridiculous is going to differ from person to person. What you looking for, baby? Some incense?
Yeah, the dupe sticks and the cones.
The dupe sticks and cones are downstairs in the basement. Okay. Rakia will tell you where they are. So, yes, this is a family operation. I realized that I had to, even I make mistakes, I had to pull back on some of the people that I was getting to help me because we had a lot of errors. A lot of people weren't getting everything in their package. My kids, they know better. So, they help and I teach them about what these different things do. And, I don't know, like, I'm sure my oldest daughter definitely is a believer. My other daughter, she's kind of agnostic. She just trying to get her some spending money. And the little kids are just curious about how herbs and roots work in medicine and in health and in your spirit. Because I was just telling my niece about how they gave frankincense to Jesus, frankincense and myrrh, because she was bagging up some frankincense. And like my granddaughter's always saying that the skeletons on my Gede altar are scary. And I'm like, why is that scary? Who told you that was scary? At 3 years old, she's being told that the bones in her body, the ones that she will go back to when she passes, and hopefully that's a whole millennia from now, 100 years rather, not a millennia, whole century from now. What's inside of her is scary. Bones are scary. And so that comes from not anything she even learned here. And she ain't preschool. She's here with us. But it comes from media and movies and things that they happen to see that condition them to be scared of their own insides, who they are. Everybody has a skeleton. Why? And everybody got skeletons in their closet. So why are little kids being taught to fear who they are and what they are? It's a very elementary. Yes, the Motown Witch is on, talking about skulls. You can't. They've made us scared of everything. As Black people, we've been made scared of our religions, our spirits. When I first saw them spirits in my house, I grew up with them. I called the dudes at the voodoo store because they was my friends. I'm like, I got haints. Y'all need to come get these folks up out my house. I'm not doing this. Well, I ended up doing this. That's where it all started. Because my ancestors were like, hey, boo, we got something for you. You were given a gift. You were given a ministry. And guess what? You ain't doing it. So we're going to make you incredibly uncomfortable until you do. That is usually what happens in life. That you will go through trials and tribulations in order to make you uncomfortable, to make you do something else. If I had not lost my job in 2009, if I had not had a nervous breakdown and no support from my church when my mother died in 2010, okay, I would have never left the church if I hadn't had that tribulation. If I hadn't lost my condo, I wouldn't be sitting in a house right now that you could put in it that, I could put my condo in this house 3 times. And when I lost my house, I moved to a bigger apartment that ended up being a portal with a history. I need something to wipe her mouth. With a history of other workers working there. Okay? For real. She got milk everywhere. That's okay. Nana loves you. I'll wipe it on my clothes. Because ain't nobody paying attention to me. But it's okay. Now, this child burps like a grown-ass man. Okay? So, when you hear her burp, don't talk about my grandchild. I'll hex you. I'm talking about my grandchild. I'm just playing. Come on, burp and quit talking mess. Don't throw up on me. God, please don't throw up on me. I ain't got burp cloth the first. Okay? Hey, Mama Star. I had the pleasure of reading in Mama Star store in New Orleans a couple of weeks ago. If you guys are in New Orleans, make sure you stop by Conjure New Orleans. They got some really good stuff there, and I hope to get back there one day soon. So, we've been taught to be scared of our own divinity. Yeah, she greedy as hell. This child, I don't know. I told her kid, it's gonna be the one. This gonna be the one you have to watch. She's gonna be climbing and stuff. This girl, she came out grown. Okay, came out holding her head up and all kinds of craziness and looking at me, always giving me the side eye, always giving me the stink eye. So that's the first problem. I have on my website a link that says formulations and descriptions. And if I had $1 for every person who, you had a grandbaby coming, yay! If I had $1 for every person who came to me and said, I bought this, what do I do with it? I could at least take myself out to dinner, a real good one. Well, let me tell y'all, don't buy nothing from me that you don't know what to do with. There's instructions, there's formulations on the website. Read them, find out what you believe you need. If you are a diviner, divine on what you need, then purchase it. If you run into difficulties with basic spell work, then you contact me. But nothing burns my butt more than I've taken your money and you got some stuff that you are going to sit on a shelf that you're not even going to do the work because you don't know how. There's no reason. People talk about ain't nobody out there. And that's why folks get cussed out on my wall because I'm like, what am I, chopped liver? How long have I been offering y'all classes? Since 2015 at least. I wish this child would come on burp. She probably going to vomit on me, y'all. There are ways to learn. You get their classes. There are mentors. We're out here. Magical mentoring sessions. I have them. I send people to people that I trust. Like my students. I took 3 of my students with me to New Orleans. And they were in Mama Star's store and they wanted to get Orisha readings, head readings. And I said, well, I don't know anybody that really does that because we don't do that in voodoo. Some people do escrow readings. I don't. And that's the philosophy of my house. Because when you're a Mambo or in Gan, you get all of the spirits. And by the way, I've heard rumors that people said I didn't initiate. Negroes, I sent pictures. I put them up on my page. I initiated. I'm a Mambo Supuen. And no, I'm not a Mambo Asagwe. A Mambo Asagwe requires you to have godchildren. Requires you to maintain your own peristom. And a number of other things. If you're going to be a good Mambo Asagwe. Other than that, I don't have the Asan, but that doesn't mean I can't do anything that any other Mambos that don't have the Asan. I mean, the Asan is something very special, and it's only for certain people. Maybe it will be for me one day, but I ain't in no hurry to go back in the Java. So that's the first thing, okay? I am initiated. So if anybody got anything to say about that, I can give you my house, my lineage, my Mambo, her Papa Kanzo, and that's why we have lineages in Voodoo. But what we don't do in my house is do esco readings and let you know the spirits that you walk with. Folks run around here talking about who the spirit of their head is, who their metet is. That's nobody's business. Okay, spirits can be bribed, especially if you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing with them. Okay? So keep your spiritual business to yourself. But as a priestess, yeah, I do have to say I am a priestess. But other than that, that's all. That's as far as I'm going to go, because I don't have to justify anything to anybody. You know, this girl. Would you please burp? Please burp. When she does, it's going to be ridiculous. Girl, for real. Because folks have been trying to tell me that I'm a phony since I first started. They don't know shit about me, and I'm not worried about it. Okay, your business is your business. Okay. And so the ladies, my students were asking me while we were at Mama Star's store, who should they go and see? And I said, well, the only readers that I trust here are Mama Star and Priestess Miriam. Mama Star wasn't there, and that I know of. I'm sure there's a lot of legitimate readers in New Orleans, but not that I know. And I'm only going to refer you to certain people. And so after an amusing conversation with Priestess Miriam, I took them over to meet her. And basically, one of the most important things that Priestess Miriam told us in that bit, she took a lot of time with us and just really sat and talked about like life. And one of the things that Priestess Miriam said is, you're worried about these spirits above you. They've always been with you. They ain't going nowhere. What about your spirit? A lot of people are not right in their own spirits, so appealing for ancestor help or supernatural assistance doesn't help them because they're unwilling to face certain truths about themselves. Did you burp? Did you burp? She sleep now. That's all she do is eat and sleep. I think she might have burped, but we're just going to keep patting her anyway because I think she likes it. So that's the first thing. When you are choosing a spiritual advisor, when you're choosing a diviner, when you are by Mama Star, when you are buying magical products, you really should really investigate the person that you're working with and be very comfortable with that person. Don't just off the bat try to pick a spiritual worker without even getting a divination from them. That's if a spiritual worker is willing to pick up and just do anything for you without a divination, run the other direction. That's, my personal opinion. So that's the first thing. Watch who you're buying things from. Watch who you're having readings from. Learn the basics of this magic yourself. Even if you feel like you are not able to, you don't have that talent, but you feel like you need to see somebody else. But see, that's because somebody convinced you that you were not God. Someone convinced you that you have no divinity and no power. The majority oppressive society has been doing it to us for centuries. So it's perfectly understandable that why you may doubt yourself when you first start doing spiritual work. I know I did. I first started making titty gritties, y'all. I was so nervous putting together herbs and roots. And then American Horror Story did a lot of things wrong for Coven. But what they did is they interviewed workers and they showed Priestess Miriam. And I told her, I was like, you have been my benchmark. I watched you go and pull herbs and roots and throw bones in that video with such mastery and power and conviction, not fear. And that comes from years and years and years of practice. I still am nowhere near what I believe Priestess Miriam is capable of. But when you see that type of presence and you see that, she ain't even looking at the jars. She ain't got to say, is this wormwood or horehound? She can smell it and look at it. Know what to pull. Know where it is on the shelf. Pull it down and get to work. So that was always my goal. And that has happened as a result of teaching. Every time I teach, I learn. I teach, and I'm thinking, should I change up the classes so I do things a little different way? I am going to do that with my playing card divination class because as you evolve, you teach others. But when I teach, I learn. There are students that come here who are all groups, from the most experienced priestess to the novice, and they come here and we all learn from each other. That's the way you learn magic. You're not going to learn it sitting in a Facebook group. You may learn a lot of, wrong things to do. Okay? Why are you concerned about working where your grandbabies are in your house? Remember, the primary things that we should be doing as workers is CPR. Cleanse, protect, and reversal. And don't our babies need that? We have no problem playing the blood of Jesus over our kids, but we have problems praying the blood of a sacrifice. That's a human sacrifice. We have problems with animal sacrifice that most of us is going to eat too. Because that's what you do when you pray over your meal. You're thanking the animal and your creator and your spirits for the sacrifice. So the only difference is the meat's real fresh. My nieces, my sister knows. Like, I got relatives, I ain't gonna lie, that don't come here because they're uncomfortable with what I do. But guess what? I'm uncomfortable with the stuff they doing in the Christian church. Been uncomfortable with the oppression and the abuse and the lies. Right. Self-taught. That's one thing I talked to a client about. Yeah, self-taught can take you so far. I agree with that. You cannot learn this by not doing it. And she was like, and I'm just worried about the right way to do things. I'm like, well, when are you going to learn to be spirit-led? There's herbs and roots back here may do something for you that they don't do for somebody else. Maybe you have to use a lime instead of a lemon. You have to work. The first thing is to become used to spirit talk, because it's really hard to determine whether or not it is a spirit. Okay? The blood of Jesus. People are always praying the blood over something. Jesus is just an appropriation of ancient religions. He's a sacrifice. He's a human sacrifice, which is scary. I don't like human sacrifice. And I don't belong to a religion that participates in it. But you would never know that from the commercialization and the fear that they put up about voodoo. We don't do that. That's disgusting. And we don't kill animals needlessly. People in Haiti don't go to grocery stores. Where I was, I didn't see I saw one little convenience store. You raise your food, you pick your food, you kill your food. Now, maybe in Port-au-Prince or someplace like that, but I was blessed in going into a very rural place where people are living their best lives the best way they can, and they're feeding themselves. They're raising their animals. Every morning in the Javot, I would listen to this chorus of animals. I would listen to the turkeys and the chickens and the dogs and everybody. They just talk to each other. Well, you still want something to eat? Oh, there you go. God, Jesus, did y'all hear that? You grown-ass man. Sound like a grown-ass man. Okay? So, yeah, you talking about some farm to table. My mambo is working to organize retreats to Haiti, because I really think before you even consider initiating, you need to go and learn. I spent over a year learning things that non-initiates should know for my mambo. And we were not taught, yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it? Too. Wow. We were not taught things that initiates should know. You can spend your whole life as a voodoo saint and never initiate. People don't know that either. You can serve spirits. When you initiate, you are usually doing that so that you can spread that ministry and initiate other people or help in their initiation and do work for others. It is my belief that if you're not a Mambo Ngan or a Bokur, they're not initiated, but they're highly trained and they're highly skilled, depending on who you choose. Don't choose one that doesn't have good principles, morals, and customer service. But those people are to get paid when they do spiritual work for others. So as a non-initiate, you can appeal to certain spirits. There are certain spirits in voodoo that, no, you shouldn't, not unless you're initiated. And if you're interested in those types of things, you can begin to learn. Okay? Thank you, Angelina. So, there are certain things that only initiated people learn, and initiation has several levels. But you can serve your ancestors, and you can learn to get used to when they're speaking to you versus voices maybe in your head. Okay? Because I've spent so much time developing a relationship with my ancestors and talking to spirits, I know when it's coming from me, and I know when it's coming from them. And sometimes people don't know the difference. Okay? But the more you talk to spirit, the more you will know. That's the only way it can be explained. Just like people who are prayer warriors. You become a prayer warrior through praying, not from sitting around waiting for something to happen. So you got to learn to get used to talking to spirits so that when they do have something that they need you to know, you'll know it's from them. You got to get used to doing spiritual workings if that's what you want to do. We are witches. Being a witch is not easy. Nobody chooses to be a witch. Just like nobody chooses to be gay, straight, trans, fluid, black, white. You just are. My mambo told me, you've always been a mambo. You just need somebody to teach you how to be one. And when I look back over my life and my ministry of helping people and giving people advice, and now moving into giving people spiritual advice, I see that. Too many people out here are wanting to do certain things for the wrong reasons, and that includes spell work and initiations. Worry about yourself. If you all have ever seen that little video, if one of y'all can post a link to it. Yes, the wee one. If you spend enough time in practice, you're gonna know. But you can't not have an ancestor altar or not learn a divination system and be innately aware of when you're getting scammed. Doesn't work like that. You have to be knowledgeable. And this is spiritual work and witchcraft are two different things. And both of those things you need to be knowledgeable about before you go out and just trust anybody with your business, your money, and your spirits. And I cannot stress that anymore. Okay? Secondly, stop wasting your money. Learn how to divine. Learn how, because you can't call a worker every single time you have a question. It's good to get that tune up every couple times a year with someone who is more experienced than you. But you got a decision to make. You got to know how to talk to your spirits, trust your intuition, do a divination, do something. There's no way you'd be a grown person in this day and age and not know how to make your own decisions. You're not grown. And so that's the first thing. And stop just buying any old thing. Stop thinking about what you want. Start looking at what you need. Maybe you don't need a sugar daddy. Maybe you need to love yourself. Yeah, and it says, yes, you know, if you come in, the thing is the only way you're ever going to build confidence doing spiritual work or working with a spiritual worker is to do it. There's no way you're going to go and say, oh, I believe in magic, and you ain't never done none, or you've never had the positives or negative effects of magic placed upon you. Okay, yes, that's the video. Worry about yourself. Don't worry about me. You know, don't worry about the other people in your life. Understand that you have the ability and the power to change things. There are only some things you can't change. Sometimes illness, sometimes death. But I've seen people beat those too. But I really, like I said, people want to talk about like, you know, people, like, I don't talk about like clients like bitch about them online or when I'm, you know, talking to y'all. But the thing that burns my ass the most is somebody telling me that they can't read for themselves. Huh? If you can't tell yourself the truth, can you tell your clients? And then when people tell me that they bought $150 worth of stuff from me and they don't know what to do with it. I'm trying to think of something you'd buy in the store that you'd have to learn how to use. What is a good example of something mundane? Like if somebody bought some shit and didn't know how to use it. And,
Mortar and pestle?
huh? Yeah, but that's witchcraft stuff. Mortar and pestle. But I'm just saying, like, you know, buying a lawnmower and not realizing whether it's electric, gas, how you should cut your grass, if you should cut your grass when it's raining or not. That's what happens. Dumb ass questions. And trust me, there are dumb ass questions. Cake mix, anything, ironing board. You bought it. And I know what it's supposed to do, but I don't know how to do it. Okay? Yeah, guess what? Every single one of those things that you guys mentioned, I done took my ass on YouTube. Like when my dishwasher clogged years ago in my old condo, me and my ex-husband got on YouTube. We unclogged that bitch. When I couldn't use Photoshop and I first became a photographer, guess what I did? YouTube. When I'm sitting with one of the people from my day job and she wants to learn how to put closed captioning in something for her, them grills, girl. Them damn propane grills. Look, gas grills are for punks, okay? Fire, okay? Get rid of the gas grills unless your condo prohibits you from using charcoal. I've almost set a balcony on fire before, so I can kind of understand that, but we won't talk about that right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, when we lived in Rockford, came home, we had a little Smoky Joe grill on our patio, which was all wood, and it was a high wind day. This was from the night before. We couldn't get it lit, so we ended up finishing the steaks in the oven. And the next day we go out to the store, Target or something like that, and come back and that motherfucker is knocked over and the patio is on fire. Because I ain't know what I was doing. You know? When you play with fire, you get burned. And that's the same thing with magic. I guess that would be a really good analogy or summation of what I've come to talk to you guys about. There is no reason why you can't click that formulations and descriptions on my website and know whether or not for your lifestyle, an oil, a candle, some sachet powders. Say you don't have floors. Well, no, you don't want to buy waters. You want to buy sachet powders because you want to put those on your carpet. You have to, I can't tell you how to do something within your own home. I can't tell you what is more comfortable for you. That's something that you are going to have to decide for yourself. Or else you're going to end up with a bunch of different magical products and readings from different people, and none of them will improve your life. I can't speak for other workers. Well, I can speak for some of them, like Kenya and Yvette, Motown Witch, and Lewis. This is about improving your life. This is about justice. This is about removing oppression and racism. This is about survival. The magic of Black people is completely about survival. People are always talking about, oh, well, why are Black people in the condition that they're in? When the question they should be saying is, how can I get me some of that because they're still alive? So the reason why we practice, and the reason why we still practice today, because it's medicine, magic, and mundane. And it's the only way we have survived slavery and beyond. And you all know good and damn well that it ain't much better. We've had some progress. But as you can see, we have slipped back to 1955. And I'm having to explain things to my children and grandchildren that I never, ever, ever thought I would have to explain to them. We didn't live like this when we were kids. Maybe we were sheltered from all of it. Maybe it was because we didn't have internet. But did none of this shit go away, and now it's rearing its ugly head, and black people are leaving the church because they realize that they've been hoodwinked, fandangled, whatever the hell you want to call it, they've been lied to. And they're reclaiming their power. So I suggest that if this is the life you want to live, understand that, number one, it's not easy. I plan to move to a tiny house in 2 years, and now I got a house full of spirits and roots and herbs and all this stuff that I used to be a professional organizer. Me and my daughter don't even have the time to get into the office and straighten it out because we're busy serving our customers, which is what we're here for. It's not easy being a witch. And I didn't choose to be a witch. Being a witch chose me. I didn't choose voodoo. Voodoo chose me. So I have to act accordingly. Okay? And so it's not going to be easy. The minute you get initiated or you start practicing magic or any of those things, you make big spiritual changes to your life, you will be tested. Every difficulty that you ever had was a test. If you were lucky enough to live through the test, then you should have got the lesson. But what the problem is that what we're dealing with over and over again, and it's a crisis in the magical community and a goddamn shame, is that people don't learn the lesson. They don't realize what they had their hands in to this, you know. Oh, I did an attraction spell, but I picked up the first Negro that showed up, and he took all my money and stole my car. Okay? They just jump off the bridge and get going, and they have no idea what they're doing, and that will really mess you up. You know? But once, it is exciting. It is exciting to come back and get woke. I've had several people come to me that have insulted me in the past about how I needed to be careful with what I was doing. I've even been told I was going to go to hell. And then they come back and they're like, okay, I've had a spiritual awakening. I'm ready to get down and get real. And of course I'm going to say, I told you so, because I'm not no Christian and I give no fucks. I will say, I told you so, but I was a devil worshiper, right? So let's get started. Okay? So the first thing is you got to understand your divinity. If you have issues with self-confidence, self-esteem, and other mental health issues, I do encourage you to work on those medically with a trained professional. And I have a list of workers who actually do practice magic and are psychological counselors and do the work spiritually. Don't start doing work for people if you're at the breaking point in your own life. You are of no help. Get your shit together before you start hanging out a shingle. I don't know how many people I've had to tell that to. But embrace it. Love it. Read about it. You know, I've stayed up till the sun comes up sometimes with work and workings. You know, there is no time, especially in the Javo. It just kind of like all blends together. You never know what time it is, even if the sun's up. But you got to put that level of devotion. It will take up your life. It is not easy. If you don't want to do that, fine. Bring a little incense every now and then. Wear a few oils. You know what I'm saying? It is dope work. It is very dope work. And I'm trying to get more people who practice magic, who also are trained psychologists and psychiatrists and counselors, to join that list, so I have somebody to refer people to, because while I do design courses in psychology and other subjects for a living, I am not trained, and I would not give someone psychological advice. You know, the funny thing is, people will tell you, when you get initiated, some of that medicine that they give you for your mental illness, you don't have to take anymore. Well, that's different for everybody. I don't advise people to go off their meds. But in my case, I came back home and I was still taking my antidepressants, and they were causing anxiety attacks. I stopped taking medication I've taken for over a decade, and I'm fine. That may not happen with everybody. That's why your approach to healing has to be twofold. You have to be able to pinpoint where you're making progress and where you're not. And I don't advise people that are threatening you. If there's somebody like a Babalao or, an Iya or a Mambo Ngan who's done work for you, and then they circle back around and they're trying to get more money out of you and threatening you that your spirit's going to do such and such, find someone else. That's unethical and that's wrong. So those are all the things that we need to consider when we're doing this. You can be interested in magic because honestly, when I started this, I was looking at this from anthropological approach. My master's degree is concentration in Black literature, and so I wanted to really experience some of the things that I've read about. And then it worked. I'm a scientist. I believe in alchemy. I believe in results. If it didn't work, I wouldn't sell it to y'all. I got other things to do. There's a whole bunch of other scams somebody can run that you ain't got to work this hard.
Oh, you chose that?
So, yeah, I believe in it. But I can't guarantee it for everybody because everybody's spirit's not in the same place. Not everybody's going to participate in the work. And a lot of people, and I'm going to say most of the people that we do work for, will do actions that are counter active to what we're trying to do for them. So you got to have somebody that's willing to work with you. I started, I immediately started explaining, I started because I had spirits in my house. My friends owned the voodoo store. I was like, come get these haints out my house. And when they came to my house, I told them all about my whole life and everything. And the spirits, they were like, boo-boo, you're being called. As a matter of fact, we're not going to take them. We're going to offer you the ability to have some more. I said, what kind of shit is this? What are you talking about? And here we are, years later, 5, 6 years later, doing stuff that if you told me back then that I'd be doing, I'd be like, stop playing. You joking. I don't even go to church no more. You really got the wrong Negro. So, funny how life changes, If people told me I'd be sitting right here, a voodoo priestess, holding a grandbaby in my hand, I'd be like, y'all stop playing. I wasn't even having kids. You also have to understand that while we are the masters of our fate and we are the dust, honey, you should put in one of those little cap things. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
You should dump dust in there. Put that in a little cap thing so it's already ground. You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. You've been given free will. Even Christians have free will. But some things ain't for you, boo. That man you've been waiting to wife you for the past 7 years. I had somebody call me 14 years. Still want me to work a reconciliation candle. And I called that person back and I said, I can't do that for you. I'll send the candles to you like you paid for. And you can do them yourself. But I'm not sending that fool back to you. So you can consider the same cycle that you've been dealing with all this time. If you come and you get a reading from me and you start off with some dumbass questions that you already know the answer to, I will stop the reading. I will offer you your money back. Or I say we can talk about something that you don't already know the answer to. It's that simple. But anyways, because I'm overly ambitious, I went to the international market today and I'm making Thai food for dinner and it involves a lot of cutting and stuff. So I'm going to let you guys go. I have on the website, all of the full-size oils are on sale. I'm going to post a divination sale pretty soon. Soap. So, Ricky's like, tell them about the soap. We're going to be starting to post conditioned soaps and herbal soaps, not just the ones from my formulation. Prefer not to use, they use the Loa. They're Bokurs. But baby, it ain't voodoo without the Loa. The Loa, the law, the mysteries. So anybody tell you they're Bokur and they don't use the Loa, run the other way. Bokurs are people who are raised in the culture, have been trained to do magical workings. They're often seen as spiritual assassins. Some of them will do anything. But that's anybody that does this work. Some of them will do anything. But there's a lot of Bokuras that have ethics as well. It simply means a bakura is not a mambo ungan, and they really aren't held to something like that. Don't let that fall. They're not sometimes held to some of the same rules in the reglement that we are, because we're priests and priestesses and we have to act like it. Will I tell you that one is better than the other? Nope, because you got some bakuras that are off the charts and amazing individuals, and then you got ones that ain't got magic in their pinky finger. It's the same with no, baby, don't, not yet. I'm getting ready to get off. Okay. Don't start mashing that resin yet, because it'll make too much noise. You can, circle it. That's another thing you could do. You can grind it, but you shouldn't teach her how to hold it between her legs, because she's banging up the whole table here. So, everybody has different levels of talent. But if somebody says they're powerful, if they're telling everybody they're powerful, you're powerful. You ain't got to tell nobody. Your work will speak for itself. But it's really important that you learn for yourself. If whether you're buying magical products, whether you're getting readings from people. That's why when I first started doing playing cards, I wrote on the cards because I wanted people to see I wasn't lying to them. And I use that deck pretty frequently because some people are really not used to playing card divination. But you need to know if you're getting hoodwinked. You need to know if I sent you frankincense or myrrh. You need to know if that's oregano, like you Italian oregano, or if that's Dittany of Crete. You need to know what the difference is. And most people can't tell the difference between regular oregano and Dittany of Crete. And that means that you haven't taken time to study the plant, the species. Some people will tell you that you can use any morning glory root for high john. No. Historically, it's only the jalap root. So somebody go throw a whole bunch of morning glories in the yard, pull up the roots, tell them, I got high john. No, you don't. There are rules to this that span all cultures. The doctrine of signatures for plants, animals, herbs, roots. They don't change usually across traditions, but they may change individually. One herb or root may work differently for you than another. What differs according to culture is the people that you're talking to, the tradition and how you talk to them. Okay? And that only comes through working and studying, and there's no way around it. So remember, your mind and your money are terrible things to waste. Don't trust them at the hands of every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes along. Even people that you become friends with. Don't tell them all your business. Because 9 times out of 10, they'll use it against you. So you really have to be careful when you're choosing a magical practitioner. And when you're doing your own magical work, you need to know what you're doing. So I hope you all have a lovely evening. I'm going to let you go and go put this child down because she ruined already. And feed my family. I recommend books for beginners. If you join my Facebook group, Big Liz Conjure, there is a reading list that I update frequently. And it's available for download there. It's a closed group. You have to answer questions. And, I got a ton of books. I got some more I ain't had a chance to list. But, reading is fundamental. If you can't read, you can't be my student. So, that's another thing. Can't be lazy. This is not... If you're lazy, you don't want to do things, you don't want to change your life, you don't want to learn, you don't want to work, don't even get started. It's okay. Find something else to do. Go to yoga. Meditate, do something else. But magic, you better really have a commitment to doing it right, and or else you may find some disastrous results, or at the very least you may find yourself out of your money and still no better off than you were in the first place. So love, peace, Afro Grease. Stay moisturized, stay black. Holler.